Good morning. Welcome to I Am the Community. I am your host, Yaves Ellis. I got a very special guest with us today. Actually excited to have him in, man. Doing some great things in the community. Has an awesome story, and I'm excited to have him here. Bobby Ferguson, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Glad to have you,
out
man.
there. Hello.
Yeah, definitely,
Thank you for
man.
having me here. This is a blessing and a pleasure.
This is a legendary moment, man, to have you in with us. I think this is my first time interviewing you for real.
Definitely his first time.
Known you for years. First time I got a chance to
yeah.
get you to sit down and do an interview, man. So that's solid. But I'm excited about this interview because of what it encompasses and because of what you're doing in the community. You have an organization, or a foundation, I should say, called the 22nd Foundation.
Correct.
And for those who don't know, let's backtrack a little bit. Let's talk about your history, kind of your roots here in Columbus. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I'm born in New York, but raised in Columbus. Ever since I was 5 years old, my parents moved back from New York to come to Columbus, and we bounced around in some of the earlier years. And I landed on 22nd Street. That's actually where I grew up, 22nd in Cleveland. Inner city kid, went to a couple alternative schools, one of the best middle schools ever in Franklin. I definitely say that was one of the funnest alternative. And a lot of, it's crazy because a lot of people who I know now, and we grew up, and everyone seems to be doing well.
Good.
that went to Franklin. So I always say, education and environment does play a key.
Yeah.
So yeah, I grew up and I went to Leonard McKinley High School. I begged my mom to go to the city school. I should have went to Cos.
Right.
But yeah, so I did that, and during probably around my 8th grade summer, going into the 9th grade, rather, I should say, I got introduced to tennis. My mom actually took me to a Scarborough East. They had a little tennis clinic that still goes on. It's called Wolf Park Tennis Association.
Okay.
And that's how I got introduced to the tennis game.
Wow.
So yeah, 22nd Foundation basically is all from the grassroots, from me actually growing up on 22nd Street and actually giving back and kind of some of the adversities that I grew up with.
Yeah.
So it was a chance for me to give back.
Well, I mean, the crazy thing is when you think about 22nd in Cleveland, the last thing you think about is tennis. So what you doing the 22nd Foundation, and tennis kind of been an opportunity for you to introduce somebody to something new. Is it a hard sell to do?
Yes, it is. I mean, it's definitely a sport that no one's really playing at all, and they're not. I mean, I was the only kid in the hood walking with a tennis racket. So, it definitely is a hard sell.
Yeah. So I guess what lesson did you learn from tennis? Because I feel like every sport has its own set of lessons that you learn. Like, like basketball, everybody say with basketball you learn, teamwork. And then with golf, you may learn that it's not about strength, but more so about, focus on one thing, focus on the accuracy. So what lessons in tennis have you learned that you translated to life lessons?
Well, I think that in tennis it's a very, very individual sport. So it's you don't have a team. I mean, it's just you. I mean, you go out, you practice. I mean, you bust your butt in practice, and you work on different elements and different fundamentals of your game, and you have to do that all by yourself.
Yeah.
And even when you're practicing, I mean, you're practicing. It's just as you are in society. I mean, once you grow up and everyone lets you go, and you still get help, but at the end of the day, I mean, you're still an individual.
Yeah.
So I think that that kind of carried over with me in life. And then also, in actually playing tennis, it's kind of like a basketball game. You can go up and down the basketball court, both offense and defense. No one can score. But in tennis, it doesn't matter. Someone loses that point every time.
Yeah. So
I guess it kind of, let me know that even when I'm down, I still can fight back. And so I think it's just a lot of individual characteristics that
definitely
instilled into me.
So in terms of, 22nd Foundation, what was it that sparked you actually sitting down and putting together the foundation? Was it something that you've seen? Was it something that you've always wanted to do since you started playing tennis? What was it? Yeah,
it was funny because I always had a vision of giving back. I just didn't know what environment that would be in.
Yeah.
So when in 2012 I had it was a dull moment in my life, and I actually was going back out to with my nephew. I had always constantly taught them, even though my nieces and nephews, they always went to my old coach. I still took them out and trained them. And so during this break of this period where I had a lot of downtime, I started to notice a lot of kids, they weren't getting proper instructions, and a lot of parents, they couldn't afford it. They just did not have the access, the resources, and the funding to continue to play in the sport. So I said, well, let me just get back. And so that's when I started to go to Wolf Park, and I invited a lot of kids out, and we hit all summer in 2012. And so I said, man, this is it. You know, I said, let me set this platform up. And then I started to notice that there was a lot of other sports too. You know, you talk about golf, lacrosse, field hockey, which are programs that we're going to introduce here in the near future. So, but I mean, it was just that was a light when I just saw the kids just did not have the access.
So I guess the biggest thing about this program is more so exposure. Definitely
exposure. I mean, I think that's key for anybody. I was talking to some parents of a high-profile NBA star, and they were telling me, even in a basketball element, how they sacrificed and they made AAU games and they made trips just to get their kid exposed. So I said, wow, you know, it goes around the board. But I mean, definitely, I mean, you know, we do not know what a kid's potential is if they are never exposed to something. And I think that these sports, I call them Ivy League sports, we're just not introduced to them, you know, because of the economic restraints, you know.
And I think that's what's beautiful about this program, is that you're offering an opportunity. Honestly, when you think about these sports, you begin to open up roads to college.
Correct.
So these are like scholarship opportunities that people may have, because think about basketball, think about football, it's only a certain number of scholarships that they have to give. But then when you start thinking about, well, also play soccer, also play tennis, also play lacrosse, golf, like those open up doors to more scholarships into college. And so is that kind of a goal for you as well?
Yes, I mean, I think that's one element with these so-called Ivy League sports. I think also what comes with that is once you build that individual character, self-esteem, confidence, and all of these characteristics that fall into these sports, and even sports as a whole period, the network. You know, when you start dealing with the Ivy League sports, I mean, your network totally changes. I mean, you're dealing with developers, you know, high net worth individuals and families that you would never have access to. And then once you start winning, guess what? They want to play with you. They want to practice with you. And that's what I always tell the kids that even, you know, that are playing on a higher caliber level now. I say, you know what, you know, extend and get their numbers and exchange and meet them, you know, and find out what it is. So I think that's from a business side, even if you don't decide to go to college, you know, even if you know that's not the route for you, you still can be an entrepreneur and a business person, and you can network. So
I think that's part of the battle that we have as well. So you got the exposure aspect, but then when you have the actual networking aspect. So when I meet somebody, figuring out that this person may often be someone that can get me a stepping stone to another place or plateau in life.
Definitely
through the sport,
all the way through the sport. And I mean, it's unreal. I mean, the people that I grew up playing tennis with, I'm just not going to call a bunch of names, but I mean, these are high net worth families in the market. And, you know, I was right there. And the crazy part about it was no one told me to extend my network during that time, you know? So I think if someone would have said, man, you know, instead of going back to the neighborhood and hanging with Joe Schmo, you know, you should basically be trying to, you know, get yourself in and to see what they have planned. I mean, and I didn't take advantage of that opportunity. And that's what I want to instill into these youth that I'm working with, to say, yo, you know, there's an opportunity here. You just have to, you know, you have to
take advantage
of it for sure.
So what do you have coming up, man? You guys got some events coming up. You guys got you know, any kind of open house things people can come to? What do you guys got going on?
Oh yeah, well definitely. So right now we just started our winter indoor tennis fundraising campaign. It's going on to the middle of December. You can basically access that. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to take and still do we're going to call them play days, and these play days will go around to two elementary and middle schools through the month of December, January, February, March, and April, all the way up into April. And we'll have play days. We'll do tennis, we'll do field hockey, and we'll do lacrosse. We're also going to take a group of individuals that play in our winter indoor program and get them access to additional training throughout the week. So that campaign started. You can log on to our website, 22foundation.com. That's the numbers 22 22foundation.com and just click on donate actually right there, and it'll show you about the campaign. And even if if you don't want to come out, at least sign up for the newsletter and to get more information as far as what we're doing in the community. But that's what we have now. And then we also have a fundraiser event coming up at the Great Gatsby. That's going to be it's going to be a very, very high, to me, it's going to be a event that the community hasn't had in a while.
It sounds like the Great Gatsby, sounds like you got to get tuxedoed up.
We definitely want you to dress to impress. That's going to be Friday, November 21st at The View, 95 Liberty Street. You can go to Eventbrite, theview.eventbrite.com and purchase your tickets for that event. And we'll be doing a lot of on-site donation campaign, and we'll do some raffles and things like that. And I think it'll be fun. We got some live bands, live music, a lot of surprises for that event. That's gonna be cool. I come from an event background, so it's crazy how it comes back full circle. And I say, man, I'm able to, give my talents in another way. And I think that's gonna be awesome. So.
Yeah. That's very, very important, man. So for those out there, listen, go online, 22foundation.com, 22foundation.com. Also, again, the Great Gatsby's event. When is it going to be?
Friday, November 21st at The View.
At The View.
95 Liberty Street. And then also you can follow me on social media at Bobby G. Ferguson on Twitter and Instagram. You can get our work, or you can follow at 22foundation on Twitter and Instagram, and kind of see what's going on, what we have going on. Check me out, and I would love to communicate with you via online. Always ask us what's up, and I appreciate all the support. It's definitely benefiting the youth. Yeah,
I mean, it's a great cause, and it's one of those things where it's opening up so many doors than just for sports. Like you said, the relationships, college. To be able to increase your net worth, the people that you end up meeting and working with. So I think this is a very, very important organization, and that we should support it. So make sure y'all support the 22nd Foundation.
Definitely.
With Bobby Ferguson. Thanks for coming in today, man.
Oh, man. Thanks, man. We built in character, man. That's what I always say. And check out our tennis recap video on YouTube, the 22nd Foundation on YouTube. You can kind of see our work, man.
Good deal, man.
Appreciate this, Yaves.
No doubt, man. Listen, you tuned in to Eye on the Community. I am your host, Yaves Ellis. Remember to keep God first. With God, all things are possible. All is all. That's all that all means. Join us again here next Sunday at Eye on the Community.